be with Palumi over there on the beach. But now I'm thinking maybe I want to be on the beach with you here. I mean, it just looks so peaceful and restive. But everyone, thank you so much for inviting us and making us all to feel welcome. My name is Erin Randall, and I am a coach, Agile, Coactive, as well as ORSC, which is ORSC is the Organizational Relationship and System Coaching, that side there. I've been doing this work for a very long time, but I must confess it's only within the past few years that I've really fallen down the rabbit hole of falling in love with this work, the questions and the connection it can help us to forge with one another. And to be able to do this with so many people around the world, honestly, means everything to me. So thank you. And with that, I will pass it over to Kerri.
Thank you, Erin. So hi, everyone. As Erin mentioned, my name is Kerri Sutey. I am an Agile coach at Google. I got my start in Agile outside of software development. So I get really excited to talk about what Agile can look like in areas that are not just IT. So that's something that I get passionate to talk about, but really looking forward to talk with you all today about coaching conversations and bringing some of the ORSC techniques into our conversations and seeing what that looks like and getting to practice it with you. So really looking forward to that. Yogita.
Thank you both. It's a hard act to follow after Erin and Kerri, but I am also one of the Agile coaches, and Kerri and Erin and I met actually at one of our Agile courses. I don't even remember, 3, 4, 5 years ago now, long time ago. But I found Agile in a more traditional way. I grew up in India and went live in Nasik. My family is still there. And I actually worked in Pune for a few years before I moved to the US. And I was part of the startup boom that most of you will remember back in the day in the 90s. But since then, I have actually walked away from hands-on keyboard coaching to working with people. And I get so excited to connect back with people, and especially this, when Erin reached out and asked me to do this, I didn't even have to think for a second, because this is like going back home to me and meeting so many wonderful people that I love dearly from back in India. And my coaching experience is like Erin and Kerri were talking about, mostly in working with groups of teams and helping them bring Agile ways of working from anywhere into IT to mining and electricity clients. So I just love connecting with people and doing this work. So thank you so much for inviting us here.
Well, with that, I'm wondering how we can I'm wondering what our first part should be. If you don't mind. Sorry, I got a little bit flustered. I was looking at my mural board in the background there. So this is and goody, internet here in rural Montana is a little bit fun right now. Let's do a check-in with one another. And this is why we have the Zoom chat over on the right. So if you would, I would like it if everybody would type in, but do not press enter yet. Enter one word that is your favorite Saturday night activity. So if you were not on a Zoom call with all of us, what would your favorite pandemic Saturday night activity be? So write that in the chat. Don't press enter. And then I will have you press enter in a moment. But on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, press enter. And we'll read some out. So I'm laughing deeply because I'm seeing Harry Potter there, watching a lot of Harry Potter with your son. That's why you have that intimate knowledge there. So out of curiosity, which is your favorite book?
The last one.
The last one?
Yes. This one breaks the wand. This one comes back. This one doesn't lose, hope. And
okay.
Yeah.
I was a book 4 girl myself, but I have to admit, book 7 was quite good. Yeah. Do you like the movies as well as you like the books, or with your son?
Actually, I have just been through movies,
Okay.
but I've heard that those who have read books, they like them more.
You know, I'll have to think about that for a little bit. Okay, so Megan, I'm looking at yours. Your Saturday night activity is cleaning your house and making it ready for a refreshing Sunday. I feel like you're the person I would like to be one day, to have that kind of, you've got that there, and I'm like, oh, I should be like that. I'm not quite like that yet. Wow. Is it more or less difficult to keep things going than when in the middle of a pandemic for you? Megan?
More difficult. Yes, responsibilities have grown and you have less support from outside, as in family, friends. They can't so easily come over and help you out with anything. So you're on your own with your immediate family. That's about it. So yes, it has become tougher, but I still do that because it's so refreshing to wake up on a Sunday morning with things in place and really neat and tidy. I think I find it very motivating.
Yeah, you've got that. You're there. You're ready to go for the day. Wow.
Yes.
And Rahul says that music, specifically guitar. Any chance you want to come on and tell us a little bit more about the guitar?
Yeah, hi, Erin.
I
So guitar is one of the instruments that I like to play, but I have I only get time in the night sometimes. So I try to play it a bit quietly, because kids are sleeping, and so yeah. And then I like to play ukulele as well. So
I actually had a guy that I was mentoring. I was doing some work with him. He would teach his team to play the ukulele, and it was like this great team building activity. So there you go.
yeah,
That's wonderful. So how do you play an electric guitar quietly? Just out of curiosity.
not electric guitar, the normal acoustic.
Okay,
My
because I was that looks
My
like an
electric guitar
electric
is still
guitar.
it's still in India. It's still in
Okay.
India, so which I left 10 years back.
Oh, and Latha is saying a chill beer with your partner and conversations. I'm seeing a lot of people are really missing movies, Netflix. I really appreciate the people, Anoop, you're saying that you want to go to a party as well. You're an extrovert, aren't you?
Through and
Louis?
through.
Yeah, through and through. You're like, yes.
Yes, I want to live life 100%, if possible 120, 30, 40, whatever is possible.
I can't remember the last time I went to a party, so the next time I want to, I'm going to call you for tips on how to be an extrovert and how to go work the room. I am. You're like, I gotcha. I'll be there. Don't worry. I'm seeing a lot of people. I do appreciate the booze and having a chill beer with your partner. Oh, yeah, I do want to know what type of food is being made. Era, can you help us with that? Because that sounds amazing.
Yeah, so as I said, based on availability of ingredients and especially the mood, if I want to have something, a salad, so for that, definitely I would be needing lettuce and zucchini and all those things. So I love to prepare something healthy and vegetarian, of course, that's my, prime focus. So the availability I prepare, but I make sure to prepare something new on each Saturday, new or different, I should say, other than what we eat daily. Yeah.
But I'm laughing a tiny bit because I have a friend who is Russian, and every time he would go back to Russia to visit family, I would send him with homemade salsa, because apparently Mexican food was very popular in Russia, but they were having trouble getting it spicy enough. And I'm like, I could understand that. But yeah, wow, that sounds amazing. Also hoping that you come over for dinner here and bring all of that. Someone's going to the gym. So I'm seeing a lot of movies and the like. Anyone have a particular series that they're fond of over on Netflix? Anyone?
Sorry, come again, Erin. Maybe I missed it.
So I see some people posting over in the chat that they really liked Netflix movies and the like, and I was asking if anyone had a particular series recommendation that they liked a lot over on Netflix.
Again, Lord of the Rings and those Harry Potter, and then a lot of Desperate Housewife, Sex in the City, and then of
I'm
course
laughing. I'm laughing. We go from Harry Potter to Desperate Housewives, Lord of the Rings, Desperate Housewives. There's a big stretch there. I'm like,
Born, series, Born Ultimatum, Born, I forgot.
Matrix.
Yeah, Matrix again. Yeah.
I'm a Disney buff, so for me, MCU Disney is the thing that goes. So yeah, forget it. I'm watching Loki now in Disney Plus.
Okay. And Manu says that you watch a lot of House. This is fascinating to see what everybody's watching around the world.
I like a lot of biographies, which are based on real life situations or people. Yeah. Because I get to learn a lot from them on how their journey was and how they've been successful or the experiences they've had.
I watched a really interesting documentary about Amelia Earhart and the search for the plane. Yeah, that was hard thinking about, a woman, who'd done something like that and then, got turned around. Yeah.
Ford versus Ferrari was interesting.
Oh yeah. Did you like the part where who was the Ford executive that they put in the car and he drove him around the track? That was funny. What must have been Bill Ford. Anyway, but I agree. That was fun. All right, everybody. Are we thinking that it might be time to go ahead and get started? So we've got to check in. We need to start an alliance. How would that sound to people? Can I get a thumbs up if we're all right there? Yes, please. Okay. I am actually going to begin sharing my screen. Let me go back. I need to go back one. I was in the wrong one for a moment. Let's go design our alliance together. All right. So hold on. And let me put a visitor link in on the chat over there.
Oh, I see a raised hand. Not sure. Arun, was there something you wanted to ask?
Yes. So if someone has a raised hand, please feel free to go ahead and ask the question out loud.
Sorry, I meant a thumbs up.
Okay.
Oh. I appreciate that.
On occasion too. I'm like, wait, that wasn't the reaction I wanted.
And you can't quite take it back. Yes. So everyone, I put a link to a mural board over in the chat. And I thought it would be good for us to all design an alliance with one another as a large group before we go into smaller breakout rooms and the like. So if you all could, there's Kerri. I'm starting to see people come in and the like.
Erin, do you want me to share my screen and share it?
Yeah, that would be fantastic. That would be so helpful.
You bet.
Okay. There we go. So one of the first things we like to do as a large group, whenever, after we check in with one another, is let's do an alliance together. So with larger groups, one of the things that I have is what I call sandbox rules. So I know those of you with children probably remember what it was like to have your children play with one another in the sandbox and how to make them learn to play well with one another. So in terms of that, I like to bring that idea forward into our larger group setting here. So my first request of us all in this is that we be for one another, that we assume positive intent, that we want the best for one another. Okay. Any questions about that one? Because sometimes I have people go, they were like, what does that mean? How does that land? Everyone, I'm going to assume that things are good if I'm not hearing anything. And it's also going to be a much more enjoyable session if there's a little bit of interaction and if we talk to one another. Because remember, we do want connection, greater connection as well. So secondly, listen well, talk straight, ask questions, support and challenge one another when needed, keep our agreements, express praise for one another for what one another is doing. Because a lot of this is really hard work. And so if we have these guidelines here, it kind of helps to make it a little bit easier. But my first question, and what I would like you all to do, is what is missing from these agreements? And add sticky notes down here into the what's, thank you, Kerri, as I clearly forgot to lock that. What's missing from these agreements? What do we need here for all of us in order for our group to thrive? What's missing?
And if you're driving, because I think someone mentioned they're driving, please feel free to just speak it out loud and we'll type it in for you.
Right, because we do not want you trying to text and drive. That, yeah, no, that would be terrifying. So starting to see people enter sticky notes. What's missing from these agreements?
So you want us to basically write, what do you think we feel
Yes.
is missing from these sandbox agreements?
Yes.
They cover almost everything for me.
I'm sorry. Thank you for helping me to make that more clear, Deepti. It's what is missing from these sandbox agreements? What is missing that would help our group to thrive in our work together? Or if you need to ask more questions about some of those sandbox rules, just to have a better idea, I'm happy to lean in there too.
For some reason, I'm not able to actually edit the sticky note. That's my problem. Do you want me to put it in the chat? Yeah.
Yes. If you would like to put it in the chat, we will make certain it gets forward. Yeah, I must have done something on the back end with this link. So that was my bad. And also reminder, Erin, to do a little bit more testing with the mural board before you unleash it on other people. But yes, if you have something that you would like, just enter it in the chat and we will make certain it gets over to it. I love that. Listen to understand. Can you help me understand more what you mean by that? Listen to understand.
Not to just respond, because a lot of time we just listen, we wait for the other person to complete so that we can respond. And so, yeah, just understand. And that's where
I was working with a woman who does a lot of mediation, and we were doing some work together. And the phrase her to use was, I hear that you want to listen, but only in a way that makes you to feel comfortable. And she was like, yeah, because so much of her work was mediating between two disparate groups. But I love that, listening to understand. Stop comparing, break your own records. Eric, can you help us understand more what you mean there?
So I've seen maybe individual at their level, they start comparing, oh, this one is performing well, or maybe my other team member is working too well, but we cannot compare our all the 5 fingers, right? So each one is different, and same thing goes for managers or even agile, and I mean scrum masters as well. Like they shouldn't compare. They should encourage team members that um, or encourage in such a way that teams should feel motivated and break their own records rather than comparing themselves to others. So that was something I wanted
I
to
love that. Don't compare yourself to others. Wow. And trusting new ideas. Anoop, can you help us understand what's there for you?
Sometimes it happens in the, the people generally, just make the mind if the experienced guy always tells. Sometimes a newer member in team, that he's very new and means he's less experienced, but sometimes he put some good ideas over there. So we must respect this thing also, just to put in his words and just think whether it will work or not, like that. Trust to new idea.
Yeah. Be open. Yeah, I love that. Thank you. Anything else that's missing? Because I think all of these make great additions to our alliance here with one another. Value time. Kara, I'm going to ask you again, what do you mean by value time?
Sometimes, like when we talk about agile, everything has to be time bound, and sometimes we miss that thing. And when we say like it is going to be take half an hour, then if it is not agenda driven or unstructured, then there has to be some way to value the time, because you end up having, especially in this remote setup, you end up having multiple calls, unnecessary calls sometimes. So it should be, I mean, from that perspective, I have written value time.
I'm kind of hearing two things there. Number one, yes, be respectful and value others' time. But I'm also hearing a slightly different side, and help me make certain I get this right, that you miss sometimes the freedom to have a deeper conversation.
Right.
That expansive, that openness. Yeah. Okay, wonderful. Anything else? Mindfulness, sharing insights. Yeah. So I'm also going to ask us to start to shift to the other circle where you can count on me. And what this is, what can others in this group count on you for? How will you show up? What will you deliver for them? How can they count on you? Empathy, empathetic. Yeah. Thank you, Anoop. And so by not making assumptions, inclusiveness. And Anoop, the story I tell myself when I read Don't Make Assumptions is that I hear, I will be open-minded. Is that what you're also saying there by not making assumptions?
Yes, praising.
Yeah. Respect. Right. Yes, one of the core Scrum values, respect. Yeah, sharing is caring. Don't keep knowledge to yourself. Wonderful. Yeah. What can we count on one another for in these circles? Trust.
And there are we saying, I can be trusted, or I will also trust others?
Kerri for the win there. That was a really wonderful ask there. So Asit, and help me if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. I think Kerri asked a really great question. When you say trust, do you mean I can be trusted or I will trust others?
It is bidirectional.
Okay, great.
Wonderful. And accepting creative conflicts. And I'm laughing because in my head, I'm like, by accepting creative conflicts, does that mean, it's like, is Erin Russell's with mural boards in the fun there? Yes. And yes, Rahul, we are designing the alliance for this session for our work together. So thank you for that. Anything that we're missing here because we're about ready to start going to breakout rooms. All right. So everyone, we're going to go into 3 separate breakout rooms. It's going to be done at random. Kerri will be in one, Yogita will be in another, and I will be in a third. And we will welcome seeing you there in just a moment.
And how long are the breakout rooms for?
Great question. Let's put, we put about 30 minutes on those. Let's put another 30 minutes on there. And then we'll touch base with one another and see, if we want a little bit more time in there. Okay.
Okay. Give me 1 minute and I'll set up Team Erin is room 1. So everybody will know that once they're in that room, you'll get instructions on what we're doing. Team 2 will be Team Yogita. And Team Kerri will be Team 3. And then let me just make sure I've got the right people in the right room. Just need to make sure I've got Yogita. Yep, I do. Okay. All right. So, and did we say about how much time?
Let's take about 30 minutes. And in the background, the 3 of us will be chatting. And if we need a little bit more time, we've got some flexibility around there to offer it back and the like. So yeah, let's take about 30 minutes and we'll see you there.
All right. The rooms are opening.
Completely fine. I have heard also, a pronunciation of my name, so I'm completely fine.
Okay. Well, if it's any joy there on that side, I cannot tell you how many people have mispronounced my name over the years as well. But I also get a lot of people look at me and they're like, isn't that a man's name? And I'm like, no, you're thinking of, Jewish male, Erin. I am the Irish female version of that. And they're like, oh, I didn't know that was a girl's name. I'm like, well, now you know. Now you know. Well, welcome. So I'm seeing a few people on video, but a few people also more just on audio. So I'm open to either, but if you are open to appearing on video, that would be great. And I would appreciate it very much. So I am going to drop into our chat our Neuralink, which is the word I'm trying to say and failing miserably at. It's morning here for us. And let me know if you're able to get to that, because I see that it's going to everyone. There we go. And we'll see if I can get some people over in there. Not yet. That's okay. We can still do this work visually/virtually as well. So what we wanted to do here in this first part was something that we call voice of the system work. And this is really to help bring up what is going on with people inside. And perhaps this is something that I should have also spoken about back in the main room, but the reason behind titling this session, Love Letter to India, is because we wanted to be able to do this work with you. And I'm going to pan just a little bit to the left so that you can see that logo. This was designed specifically for this group. And if you'll see the arms there, those deep blue arms, it's to help hold this circle. So we want to help you experience this type of work so that you can be able to use this work as well in your own coaching and agile practices and the like. All right, so we're going to be looking here at the voice of the system area. And when we think about what has been happening around in India, around the world, what's inside of you that you want to bring forward? What hurts? And I'm hoping that you all can access those sticky notes right there that I've highlighted. And let's use those sticky notes to start bringing some of that work forward. And also one of my dogs just came in down here and she would like to say hello. So I'm noticing it's really quiet here. And the story I'm telling myself is that you are all still trying to get familiar with the board and the like, and with one another. But I'm hoping you all can help me there too.
So I'm trying to log in and I mean, it's giving me some trouble. So that's why I was more focused. And I'm using
No, hold on. Okay. Yeah, we're still having trouble with these boards, but that's okay. Everyone, I have access back here and I'm able to type things in and the like. So I am going to start sharing my screen if you don't mind. So that way we at least see that there too.
Yeah, I think that will help.
There we go. Boom. That's much better. Okay. So perhaps let's start with a different question though. What made you curious about attending this session? What made you want to come here?
Can we?
Sorry, please.
Sorry, after you.
Yeah, for me, it was like I wanted to understand a more empathetic way of reaching out to people. And I felt ORSC gives you that avenue to be more empathetic, more human to the people that we interact with in our daily lives. It can be work, it can be other spaces as well. So that got me curious.
And it sounds like I'm hearing you say that you miss empathy in your daily work and in some of your daily life.
I do have it, but I would love to have more. And I would love to have the ability to give more. I feel that, yeah, sorry.
No, I was simply going to ask, what would be different if you had the ability to give more empathy?
I believe once I'm able to give more, it would be it would uplift not only my own self in terms of being human. We all say being agile, but I want to stress on the fact of being human. Yeah. And also it will help the other person to see me as a human and not a resource or a manager or an associate, a plain human who has problems as well and is willing to help, or it's not even about help, is willing to be there for them. So, yeah.
Thank you. That's beautiful. Who else wants to come sit at the campfire?
So the point which I have always learned is that Agile coaching is not something where the Agile coach initiates it, but it should come from the coachee. So I want to learn, like when you can see that something is not going in a correct way, maybe it might be correct for me, but from process wise or maybe in general, then how you can control yourself and let the things reach out to you so that you can guide. That is something which I really want to learn.
So I'm hearing self-management. Is that what I'm hearing there?
Yeah.
But I'm hearing a softer side of it as well, so that you can absorb but reflect back. Is that what I'm getting?
Right. That's correct.
And what would be different for you if you had this?
What would be different for me
if you had this kind of self-management, the ability to reflect and absorb as well as reflect? What would be different for you?
It will definitely change my mindset as well. I feel that sometimes because when you will be self-manageable, then you will be help others to self-manage, and that is what should learn from it. So at least for me, like as Kung Fu Panda, in Kung Fu Panda, we too, we have learned inner peace. So I'm like more of that, how to get that inner peace is something I should learn from self-management. That's what I was thinking of.
Oh, I think inner peace needs to be its own card.
Yeah.
And I think it needs to be a bigger card. Yeah, and I don't think I spelled inner correctly, but we're working on that. Well, you know, when you talked about inner peace, that really resonated with me as well. This is something that I would love to have more of, not only for myself, but with the organizations that I serve. Thank you for bringing that forward. Wow. What else is here? What else? Fire.
I can speak my
Please.
reason about my reason.
Mhm.
So I'm on this OSC journey since last year. I did my fundamentals last year, then I did my intelligence and geography this year, and then I had to
Congratulations.
leave. Yeah, I had to leave the third course because I was training on that day. So now, so I'm on this journey. So I'm a big fan of OSC. Few things that have stuck in my mind, like few lines from OSC, which is like everyone is partially correct. I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of this line. And also I remember, I think it was in geography, which was, so if eggs had rejected semen, then what was the result? So it's like the why diversity is important, why differences are important in this world. So I'm a big fan of OSC, and when I saw the invite of this session, I just thought that, okay, let me just see and what I can learn from it.
Well, congratulations on going so far into ORSC, and it sounds like you'll continue that journey as well going forward.
Yeah.
How do you want to share these ORSC tools with others?
So I have tried few. I haven't tried all of them, but few of them, like DTA. I have like tried a lot, DTA, and then third entity. Third entity I have tried. So there are few I have tried. So like whenever I'll get a chance, like I'm happy to share my learnings from it, because the first time when I tried third entity, when I asked, so I tried it with one of the CTO of my client, and when I asked that, okay, what did you get out of it? And I got, Rahul, I know all these things. I don't have time to deal with them. I was like, okay, maybe it's a good learning for me that you could not get anything out of it. Okay. So yeah, so I have like a few successes, few failures, but I think failures gives you bigger learning. So I'm happy to share whenever I touch.
Yeah, I love that you keep coming back. You're like, this is something that I feel that there's something there and I want to keep coming in for it. Wow. You know, that grit, that tenacity, I think is so important to bring forward. Well done, you. Other voices for the campfire. There's some people we haven't heard from, and I'd love to hear from them. So if we think about what has been going on, it's been a long year and a half already with a global pandemic. Exhaustion, fear. But I'm curious about what is inside for other people. What is the system telling us? Let me go pick up the chat. I'm wondering if I missed some things over in chat.
So when you say like what we are missing in this 1.5 years, so I thought of sharing that social life is something which we definitely are missing. We are into virtual world, and honestly, my daughter is just 15 months old, and she was born when this pandemic started. So I'm really scared that she is meeting everyone virtually, like on maybe duo call. So what will happen? She will interact with the person in general. So that is what, like, social things are missing in my life. That's what I can think of. So even for the team as well, like we talk, though we share happiness virtually, but virtually as in like over the virtual calls, but somewhere in deep dive, that is something, a major miss. So,
and I love how open you came to the campfire with that missing social life, because once you explained about having a 15-month-old daughter, you know, that you had, you know, very early in this pandemic, and everything that has been missing, you know, just, you know, I imagine not being able to hold a friend's new baby for the first time, and that's
right.
really hard. Wow.
Yeah.
Hmm. And it sounds like, are you very like Palomi, very social, very extroverted and outgoing? Or are you more like me and a little bit more introverted and quiet?
I'm more extrovert. I like to meet people and interact. So that's typically me. So I'm all those things.
Yeah, and to have kind of that double hit there of, I mean, wanting to be able to share a new child with others and not being able, wow. Thank you. What else? What else is inside for people? And again, I am inviting all of the people to come forward. I don't know if you all can hear that noise. That is one of the dogs upstairs playing with a toy. You can hear it skittle all the way across the floor and then all the way back. The joys of Zoom, where we all get very close personal views of one another's lives.
True.
See, this is kind of the flip side of being at home on Zoom, is that you get to hear that, but I'm not able to hold your child. Wow.
Yeah.
Other voices that we can come forward with. I see that Rahul is parenting, so camera is off. But I think we have other people in this room too.
We have not heard from Nishar, Asma, and Helen yet. So,
and we
are we putting them on spot?
Asma unfortunately needs to leave. So Asma, we wish you well and thank you for coming. No, we will not put them on the spot, but we do invite whoever would like to come forward to come forward. So, Rahul, is there anything else you would like to share about what's been inside for you the past year and a half? What's it been like for you?
I have enjoyed the time. So inside me, so like I have worked out every day, every single day. In here in South Africa, condition is not, I mean, it is bad, but it's not that bad that we can still go out. And yeah, I've got like now more instruments at my home so that I can play them. And I've gone into, so I also have a 5-month-old baby now. So yeah, so a lot of things are going on. Generally I'm always positive whatever happens with me. So yeah, I keep on going. So yeah, I think I have whatever happens, I always enjoy whatever happens with me.
Yeah, congratulations on having a new baby as well. But I'm wondering, you know, again, what was it like to have a new child that you may not be able to share with family and friends, that joy? What was that like?
Yeah, it was difficult because like our parents could not come from India, and so we had to do everything alone. So not having family with you in that time is a bit difficult, but we survived. We survived. There's one blessing that we have in South Africa is like it's easier to get like help, domestic help, like compared to United States, because I have my few cousins living there and they are like, no, in United States it's really difficult to get domestic help. So yeah, so in, that actually helped us. So, but yeah, it is difficult, but like because people around me when they are in like when they are tense about things, then I'm like, okay, like don't worry. If you can't control anything, don't think about it. So only think if you can control something. So so enjoy the moment.
Yeah, I see so much you found, leaning in on the musical instruments side, leaning in. You said you've been able to work out every day. By the way, you're the elusive person that has, there's a little bit more of me now than there was at the beginning of COVID, because I sit so much in the Zoom chair all day and the like.
Yeah, so in the beginning, so there was some tensions in the organization as well because we are into training and coaching both, and everything was in person for us, and then suddenly we had to move to Miro instead of like in person. Miro became our playground, Miro and Zoom. So initially it was difficult, a bit difficult, but then I must say that it actually allowed us to interact with more people. So because initially we used to train people from South Africa only.
I'm gonna bottom line that just a little bit right there. So I'm hearing that you are really wonderful at finding gratitude and the blessing in about anything. And that's a real skill to have. That's wonderful. And I hope that you're able to share that with your child as well. Wow.
Yeah, I'll try. At least my daughter is learning classical music, which is my dream that she must learn.
Okay, well, there you go. Other voices that we can hear around the campfire, because right now it's a little bit of a lonely campfire.
Okay, so let me take this opportunity since no one is speaking. All right. So one thing that I missed during the pandemic was connecting with my parents. So earlier, before pandemic, I used to visit them every week. Okay, I used to stay with them. But during pandemic, when lockdown started and all, for quite some time, I was not able to do that. First, it was lockdown. Then I had my own COVID. So I was isolated. So I could not meet them for 6 months, more than 6 months. And that impacted my mom's health. So that was tough. And we are still recovering from it. But yeah, it took me more effort after that to bring her back to health. But thankfully, touch wood, it's better now. But yeah, that was one very tough time when I knew I had to go, but I could not because otherwise I would have infected them.
I hear that big lump in your throat right there.
Yeah, that was tough time. Very tough.
What did you learn from it?
I learned to be resilient. And I learned that there are situations which are beyond my control. And when such situations arise, it's like trying to find those small ventilation points through which you can breathe. I probably would not have the entire air, but I can still find out the ventilation links and try and make the most of it. So yeah, it increased my resiliency to a great extent.
I'd also like to thank that dog for just bowling across there, with that toy. But, resilience, ventilation. When I hear the word ventilation in that regard, though, I'm also hearing you give voice to for your love for your parents.
Yes, I did what I could. For a long time, they did not know that I had COVID. And I made sure none of my family members knew, because then my parents would know. So it was me and my cousin only, who is a doctor and who was actually under whom I was. Only both of us knew that me and my husband both were infected at the same time, and we were staying alone in the house. And there was no hospital beds, Erin, when we got infected. So we did not get hospital beds. So it was completely on God. And whatever care that people. So I work for a slum area near my place. I've made great friends there. I realized it at that time that I made great friends there, because they took care of me and my husband, providing food, supplies, medicines, everything at the doorstep. They did it for us. We are alive because of them. So I got back much more than what I gave them. So that gave me the feeling that I need to give more. There is capacity in me to give more.
What was it like to find that new capacity?
It was very, very exhilarating, I would say. It was very liberating. When you understand that there is capacity of love and there is capacity of growth in whatever aspect, it can be mental, physical, however, like there is scope, and the world is a little bit brighter today than it was yesterday. It is a very liberating feeling, and that's what I am encashing till now. And I'm building on top of it.
I hear that. And I frankly hear that from the system as a whole, where there's been a deep sense of loss about, having children in the middle of a pandemic, not being able to share that joy with family, be able to, tell your parents that you love them or take care of them, but then also seeing back and being like, but we learned music, I've been able to focus on this. I've been able to build my own resilience and help to share that forward. Wow. What else is here, system? What else is here around our campfire?
Yeah, this is Helen. I'll take a few seconds on this. Hi. I miss the hugs, the warm hugs from friends. And things like, you got to replace your summer vacations. No, absolutely no vacations, let alone summer vacations, with kind of long walks every day. But like the person from South Africa, I didn't want to dwell over, what I'm missing. Even with the long walks that replaced our great summer vacation, I kept appreciating the things around me, things that I've not noticed around me. Is something that I covered in the last 1 year. There's so many things within you and around you that you can enjoy and be appreciative of, instead of traveling far and finding peace, right? Those are some things that I covered over a period of time by just, forcing ourselves during our staying alone, isolating ourselves during our pandemic situation. But hugs, absolutely. Meeting friends, even if it was a brief coffee time, which we never had in the last year and a half. Missing to see them, really talking to them, which is different from virtually talking to them. We do a lot of virtual connection, but I kind of felt that meeting in person and sitting across each other, looking into their eyes, the body language, all that. It's an integral part of life. I missed that. But there are other things that I really didn't miss. There's a big list of things that I really didn't miss, to be on the positive note: the commute, the travel, standing in line, wearing your winter jackets and, gloves and hat and rustling, all of that. I didn't miss the workouts because everything was available virtual, whether maybe yoga or weight training or, whatever kind that I thought was only possible in gym was available in virtually. So I didn't miss a whole lot. And I've kind of gotten used to this, and now I'm like really scared to go back to the original life that we led for several decades. How am I going to adapt to that? That's something that's lingering in my head once the mask has been uplifted and I'm hearing things are opening up. Most people have been vaccinated, the office is calling and, why don't you come a couple days a week, see what it's like? Oh my God, what is that, right? What is that going back to office? I don't recall doing that.
I'm going to kind of pull those threads together there, hearing that you miss those hugs, miss, actually reading someone's body language as opposed to interpreting it over the screen. But I'm curious, and I think this question is for everyone around the campfire as a whole. What does our system, what do we collectively know now that we may not have before? What do we know now that we didn't before?
That life goes on. Even, see, we took it for granted, life. But we now know that there is value. I know, see, we all talk about value in life and stuff, but deep down we take it for granted, right? It's there, it's taken for granted. But now, at least from my side, I know that every life, every second that we have in it is precious and is to be utilized to the optimal level that it can be utilized with it can be, and create moments out of it. Like, that's what I believe.
And I hear that word precious there. That was the one that was coming up in my head too. So thank you for giving voice to it. Others, what do we know now that we didn't before?
For me, I think it's the adaptability, right? I uncovered that there's a huge change. I never thought I could do things that I've done in the last year and a half, but I did it. So I uncovered my own adaptability, the strength of my adaptability.
Strength, that word resilience has come up before as well. So precious, billion. We know now that we didn't before. I guess the question I'm also trying to ask is, what is trying to happen for us? What is trying to happen?
I have a word for it, Erin. Sorry, Rahul. My word is humanizing. We were losing the human aspect of being human. We were either, we played, I think we kept on playing various roles without realizing that the human aspect of is what needs to be in the forefront. So yeah, maybe that is shouting out that the human aspect, and as Helen said, rightly said, adaptability, the preciousness of being alive the preciousness being of able to give rather than receive. So, and the reciprocity of everything, that I believe we have become to a great extent more human now.
Wow, that's beautiful. Other voices. And I know that we're going to be heading back into the main room here shortly, so I'm just conscious of that too. So Rahul, I noticed that you came on camera.
Yeah. So I think we came to know that we give importance to a lot of things that we realize that they are not important. So for example, like clothes, right? For last 1.5 years, right? For my office, I've never wear a pant. So like all of our trainings and whichever trainings or coaching, whatever we do, I've only wear the shorts. I mean, like that's the reality. One thing that I don't miss is the traffic. I'm so happy that I'm not on the roads. I'm not wasting my time on the roads. And I'm so happy that there are less vehicles on the road because they are not important.
So I'm laughing because when you first said, about not wearing pants, and I was like, and thank you for being chest up today, then as we're recording this call, I was laughing there in the background too.
Yeah. So yeah, because I remember we were training one batch from, I think it was from Dubai or Saudi Arabia. And then my co-trainer, so Pavel, he said that, hey, Rahul, do you know I'm wearing shorts? And I was like, me too. So that was the life. And so I think now we know that what are the things that are important in our life. So let's live today. We don't know what will happen tomorrow because
precious, human, resilience. And we talked about inner peace, but it sounds like you also are all finding a lot of inner joy too, especially those of you with new children at home.
Yeah, so that's true. Like enjoying, and when I say inner peace, like this pandemic at least was fruitful for me, I should say, because all the family members were home. Otherwise, it would have been difficult, everyone going outside and nobody there to be with me or my baby. But everyone was home, so they shared equal responsibility. So for me, it was kind of a blessing. So that was my inner peace. And in addition to that, there were a few more things, like I could prepare food, and that was my way of meditation. So I enjoyed that also, as I said in before we were in breakout room. So
Helena, I'm laughing a little bit here because as you all just saw, my mother just delivered breakfast here on screen. It is quite early. And you're also noticing the German Shepherd is right there. She's like, I'm here for you. She's hoping for a little bit of handout. Right. So let's talk a little bit, and I'm checking time here because I think Kerri's about to pull us back in. Yep, she is. Let's talk about what we did here, as a way that you could bring this back to your organizations and teams and like. So I'm going to pan to the right a little bit. And by the way, everyone, you will be going home. We will send you all with a PDF of these mural boards so that if you wanted them for later, you could have them as well. And I know that these recordings will be made available too. So this is really, we're trying to ventilate the system here, bring up what's important, and hearing, getting people around this campfire to, we heard the humanizing, the joy, the sharing back and forth with one another. So quickly, knowing that we're about to lose time here, how could you use this type of work with your own organizations?
So Erin, what I do in my organization, and I do it a lot of with my teams, is that I do a lot of virtual coffees nowadays. Now, this concept of bringing up, this was a different thing that I learned today. I do it in my own way. I bring probably, we talk about soccer or we talk about a lot of other stuff, but I never delved deeper into the psychology of the people coming in or what they are feeling or not connecting to them with the feeling. And that was what I wanted to do when I said that what I want to learn from this session, what got me curious and stuff. So this is what I wanted to learn as well. And this technique I'm finding very intriguing, and I want to try it out in my teams to see how they respond to it, because I get a lot of shy people.
Yeah. And note that Kerri's telling us in 1 minute, we will go back to the main room. So a little bit more how I'd envisioned this being, when I originally started creating the facilitation plan for this work, I gave myself more time, and I always overstuff things, and I always need to learn to edit judiciously. But what I loved that you all did without me even taking you through that part of the exercise is you all started to coach yourself over the edge when you went from more else like, this is what hurts about this, but here's how I'm going to come around this other side on it. And you all naturally began to delve into that resilience, that coming forward to finding your own way through. So beautiful work on demonstrating that without having it called forth. Are there questions? Because I know we're going to take this back to the main room here imminently, but anything that I can do here that can help you understand? From my side, I would just like to thank all of you for your openness, your honesty, and you're willing to share on, everything from literally the children that you've had in the middle of a pandemic, and the joy that you found, but sharing that with people that you don't know yet, but I hope that you know a little bit more on this side too. So thank you. I think we're about to lose the breakout room, so I will see you back on the other side.
Thank you, Erin.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Wait, go to the main breakout room. Don't leave the session. I'm like, don't leave. We've got more.
See you all in the main room. Yep.
Okay. Thank you. That was a better way to say that.
I was gonna say to my group, so Team Kerri, well, I'm gonna close the room, and then it closed. So I'm sorry I didn't get to finish that sentence.
I think the timing was perfect because it was one of those, we were just doing that and we got it like, go back to the main room. We'll meet you in the main room. We've still got more things over on that side. Yeah. Well done. Also, and Team Erin, in the Team Erin room, we got to watch my mom deliver breakfast. Right. And Beatrice has been right here hoping for, she'll be there for that too. So how was that?
Yogita's team should be back in about 10 seconds.
Oh, okay. We will give you
team. You can get going because our team talked about that.
Okay. No, we'll wait for Yogita. We'll wait for Team Yogita to come back too.
We're back.
Kerri,
We're back. And we are back.
Kerri, you did great.
Kerri is great, isn't she?
Yeah.
So,
is that everybody?
I think so. I think we're all back now. Are we not?
Awesome.
Yep.
I think we are. All rooms are closed. Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Well, what we'd like to do now is what we call a share back, where each room will take about 5 minutes and share back with the other rooms what they learned, what they experienced, and what they want to take forward. Because this way it will kind of help to cement that learning there, but then also, share with others, because I know in my room, we didn't get nearly as far as I'd envisioned, when I originally wrote a facilitation plan. So, yeah. So I'm hoping for a volunteer from one room, either Team Erin, Team Yogita, or Team Kerri, to go first and share back with the others about what you talked about and what you learned in your room.
Kerri, volunteer. Kerri, you are the volunteer.
I'm not going to speak. You all have to speak. But yeah. I say do it.
Kerri's room has been volunteered also.
Yeah,
Kerri's room has been volunteered.
Yeah, I can go. This is Kashi here. I was part of the Kerri's team. So the learning has been increased. Everyone has an individuality. They have their own baggage. They have aspirations filled with a lot of things, right? What is important is that, yeah, you bring in your own individuality, but as a Scrum team or as a team, which for a period of time we are going to work together, we become a part of a system. right? And our individualities, summation of all those individuality forms a system, and it has a common denominator in terms of what we bring to the table. Again, the system has aspirations, vulnerabilities, and aspirations. So it's very important that we understand what is this system's culture, so that we will be able to kind of work to take that system in a better or a positive way, is what is my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah.
I love that you're listening for the system there. I heard so much about listening to the greater wisdom. That's wonderful.
Okay,
What
just,
else, Team Kerri?
May I supplement to what Kashi has told? Yeah. What keywords, very few keywords that really strike me during the discussion is the transparency, the openness, the culture of trust, particularly the culture of individual culture bringing to the table, the culture of the team, and also the culture of the Scrum, the entire group as a whole. And that makes a huge impact in this, the entirety. That's what I just wanted to add up. That's all.
Wow.
Amazing.
And another thing, I was part of Kerri's team. Another important thing was the elephant in the room. So Kerri wanted us to think about the last year, the pandemic, where people struggled. I struggled. We all struggled. I did not know where it's gonna be, where it's gonna get, and I felt scared. So Kerri wanted us to look into that fear. How did you overcome that? What did you do to overcome that fear for your team? How did that happen for your team? So I felt happy to talk about that. So it's a sad thing, of course, but to see people surviving that, to coming up, Naga, Asit, all those people talking about that, that was a good thing for our team. And yeah, basically that's all. We survive. We survive, and we take challenges, and we overcome that. Yeah, that's all. It's all of being about Agile is all about, right? Anything comes, you go forward, you take it head on, and hope you survive. And once you survive, you tell the story. You motivate people. So yeah, that's it from me for Kerri's team. Yeah.
Wonderful. That's so beautiful.
Amazing.
And thank you for sharing so openly. Wow, that's amazing. Anyone else from Team Kerri want to come forward? Share back what you learned. I'm hearing so much love for Team Kerri's room there. That sounded like a beautiful Team Kerri. Well done. Well done, everyone in there. All right, Team Yogita, Team Erin, from which team would like to share next?
We may have a volunteer, Erin, from Team Yogita.
Yeah.
You have no volunteers?
Yeah.
We have a volunteer. Go ahead.
We have.
So Yogita, can I?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Thank you. We had a phenomenal, 20 or 30 minutes discussion, which are certainly life lessons for us, which are useful both at work and also at life. Thanks, Yogita, for driving it so wonderful and having that smile throughout that session. Thank you. So one of the key lessons that we have learned together is how important it is to celebrate every second when we are actually at work, and how important it is to recognize others' failure or success and be with the others and encourage them to take it forward. We all saw, and we are all seeing even today, what pandemic has done, how important life is, how important the positive dimension of the life is in our life, right? So respect each other and don't hesitate to tell somebody has done good, right? So I think that's a very good lesson that that we have learned, and the importance of culture also we also talked about. And Meghna, do you want to add other points from your observations too?
Yeah, so we spoke about a few aspects of the system, and a little bit of emphasis on teamwork as well, and about
Who
recognizing.
is speaking? Who is speaking? I cannot see anybody. Who is speaking?
Meghna.
Meghna is speaking.
Okay, carry on.
Yeah. So we spoke about the team spirit or the power of the system that comes from individuals coming together, bringing in different perspectives, recognizing each other, and acknowledging the fact that together we can definitely achieve more. So anyone
Meghna
wants to add? Yeah.
Somebody had said in the system, I think it was you, Meghna, that the system is a lot stronger than any of us individuals.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks, Yogita, for bringing that.
This is Ibsen. I started with Eric team and landed with you in between. I dropped off and disconnected. Yeah, we had a very great conversation, the fire chat, and each people were in the middle of the fire and sharing different thought process or ideas around that. Another couple of things which came out is about the uncertainty, which we already discussed. I think every steps what we are in the current world is uncertain, right? Because of the pandemic situation. So another Gauri, as he told, because the other thing is identity threat. When the transformation happens, people's identity is going for a toss because they have to change the identity. Like a project manager, once the Scrum come in, where is the project manager? Then inside the organization, people are finding a little uncertain because of that, and in the society also, if their manager is become a team member, then or a flat hierarchy, then it is a threat for them once they are getting into the social environment. That is one, and another point what we discussed over here is about the appreciation, the celebration part. There is no cost or budget approval required from the organization if you want to celebrate your peer group, right? And you don't need any manager approval for that one. I think in this group, each and everyone have the rights to appreciate your peer group or your colleagues, and that makes a lot of empathy or encouragement, motivation at this current stage, because all are working in the remote places, and at least through a video call, if you are getting the appreciation, that is going to be amazing for all, and it is going to make everyone happy. I think no one dislike the appreciations, right? Everyone love to get the appreciations, and that is one of the way we can motivate the people in our group.
That's wonderful.
And we already see the power of the system and of teamwork. I think each of us, what we mentioned was during our conversation spoken by another person on the makeshift team or the breakout room. So I think that's amazing, the way we were listening and contributing and having our takeaways.
Yeah,
power of the system.
Right. And one appreciation I want to right away giving here is the three beautiful ladies from US. I think from their early morning they are coming on a weekend and delivering the show. Thank you so much. Amazing, guys.
You're so very welcome.
I take offense. He told beautiful ladies. I would suggest the term wonderful people.
Yeah, okay, amazing. I will say that beautiful and wonderful people.
Thank you. I do like being called beautiful and wonderful. That is wonderful. All right.
It's a
we have
great
one
day.
more. Yeah, we have one more team to share back. And that means Team Erin. Bring us home.
Yeah, Era is parenting. I'm not sure I hear Rahul yet. So I think he was also parenting when we were talking. So I'll take this opportunity to just bring out what we did in that room. And what we did was amazing. What we learned from each other, that each of us in the face of the pandemic situation, we had uncovered our hidden selves. We had become resilient. We had found other ways to cope. We had new children to celebrate. We did but in our own ways, in any way that was possible. We lent on to music. We learned to live life in a way that it becomes precious across the value systems. We found that the value systems for each of us was on the growth path. We were all growing as we did it. We learned adaptability. It's not that we learned adaptability. It's like it was there. We realized it and we brought it up in front. So pandemic taught us all these things. And that was amazing that every one of us, we had our challenges and we coached ourselves along with our teams to bring up, to overcome them, grow ourselves and be whatever we are today and continue the journey. So that's what we did in Erin's room.
I don't have more hands. I would have shown more thumbs, but
You got your feet up. You're like feet and, you know, big toes and thumbs. Yeah.
yeah.
Wonderful.
Great one. Yeah.
All right. Any more voices that we want to bring forward, listen for? Because we'll go to the next part of our show. And wonderful job sharing back to one another, you know, what happened in each room. But notice how this is something that you can also bring back to your other systems, to your other organizations, to help kind of increase that bond and to help bring that, keep momentum moving forward and the like. Okay.
Let's go on.
All right, everybody. So let's go look at another tool here. We're going to call, this is called what is, I should really learn to think before I speak. This is the meta skill wheel. And I think we're still having a tiny bit of trouble over with our Zoom boards and the like, but we have this up.
If you want to, you're welcome to. I created avatars for everyone.
Oh, perfect.
Nice.
I put a link.
Kerri's amazing. Kerri's amazing.
Kerri's like the magician. It's like does things in the back.
Well, I mean, I didn't get super fancy, but if you wanted to share the link that's in the chat, that one everybody should be able to move.
Okay. We're going to try this again. I'm going to come in through this. All right. And let's go down to this portion down here. All right. Whoop, a little too far. Can you all see my screen? Or do I need to share first?
You have to share. Yeah, you haven't shared yet.
Not yet. Not yet.
Not yet, but it will be coming. It will be coming right here.
I can share.
But no.
Not yet.
Okay.
There we go.
There we go. So Kerri so thoughtfully, and it looks like we've got people already coming into the meta skill wheel and the like. So this is one that we can move here, and she created avatars over on the right.
I can't see anything. I can't see.
We can see.
It's been shared.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, I don't know what to do it quite at that point. All right. But this is the meta skill wheel. All right. And we're looking at all of these different skills around here: heart, playfulness, respect, collaboration or partnership, deep democracy. And that's hearing all voices in the system, that the sum is greater than the parts. Inquiry awareness, you know, that's a stance of open-mindedness. You aren't attached to a specific outcome. Commitment, showing up for your work, your relationships, you know, accountability. And other, you know, what meta skill are you needing that we're not seeing here? So number one, are there questions about the meta skill wheel itself? Because I didn't explain very much about heart, playfulness, or respect, because I thought those might be a little bit more self-explanatory.
Erin, I'm not able to read some of the text, but you'll be sharing all this, right?
Yes, we will. You will be leaving here, number one, with PDFs of these mural boards so that you have this work there too. And you've always got that. I do know that these sessions are being recorded so that you could go back and listen to them if you like. And we have lots of fun tools over on this side. Kerri, Yogita, and I mean, we have lots of fun tools here. All right. But the meta skill, no worries. We're happy to. So the meta skill wheel is take one of the avatars and go practice standing in different stances, in different skills, and see how they feel. And then shake that skill off and go stand in a different one and see what's there for you. But eventually you're going to find a meta skill that's where you want to be. But just experiment, try different ones that you're like, oh, well, what does it feel like to stand in deep democracy and to listening to all voices in the system? What does it feel to stand in respect for self, for others? Or where do we need more playfulness? Where do we need more lightheartedness? Okay. Because we're looking at this from the viewpoint of what comes next. We're going to leave this session here. How do we want to take that forward? And the stance that you eventually choose, that you come to, be at home in, that's how you're going to carry this work forward. So go try standing in stances, different ones. See what one resonates, which one feels right for you. And suddenly, the one you think you're drawn to, once you go stand in something, you're just like, oh, this feels right. Let me try to make this a little bit bigger so that the text is a little easier to read too. Well, there's always that kind of like Goldilocks, you're trying to get it just right.
Erin, I have a question here.
Please.
So does a person need to have just one meta skill? Can there not be combinations?
Let's take that to the group. How do people feel about having multiple meta skills in their work?
For me,
it certainly enables or empowers you to be a good leader. Having multiple meta skills, I think it's very, very important to have a multiple meta skills is what I feel, and I respect others' opinion too.
Okay. What else?
Yeah, for me, what I understand is meta skills. Some of the meta skills, for example, commitment, being empathetic, respect, deep democracy. These are the very basic ingredient of leader. And also the coach, if you're talking about the whatever role that we are playing, these are the very fundamental components, ingredients, or competency, you can say, or maybe skill, you can say. So you cannot say I will only be having all democracy or maybe awareness, but we need to have hand in gloves with all multiple number of metal skills.
What else is coming up? What else is coming up in our system? I see lots of people trying to go around here.
See, what I feel is that heart and playfulness, these are kind of interconnected. I have seen others also in my peer groups, and I also believe in my own self. I also see when I self-reflect that these two come hand in hand. If my heart is not there, playfulness doesn't come.
Okay, so yeah, you always hold hands together as you go forward.
Yeah. Okay. So it's kind of this meta skill of playfulness will come only if you have a heart to it. It cannot be if you're fake in that, it will show today or tomorrow or day after. It will show. It will just come out. It will not be a meta skill that works for you, but will work against you.
Wonderful. So I don't think there's anything wrong with choosing only one meta skill, and I don't think there's anything wrong with choosing multiple meta skills. I know that when I'm practicing meta skills, I choose to stand in one, and I try to focus on that particular skill as I'm as I'm asking about what comes next. How do I want this to be? It's kind of a lens, it's like, shrinking in and out. But there's also, yes, we want to be bringing all of these skills with us at all times.
I think about it too, if I'm working with a specific team, what might they need in that moment? And what is there a meta skill that I might need to stand in more firmly in that moment to help that team either move forward or be more open with each other, etc. Maybe it's more playful, celebratory, or it's, you know, maybe there's a deeper need for deep democracy. We're not hearing everybody, someone's dominating. And so I'm going to stand in that meta skill a little more firmly just to help shape what's going on within the team.
And Kerri's just done a beautiful job right there of exhibiting servant leadership and really, you know, holding that out there. That was really, you know, what does the team need right now? Okay. So when you think about what's next, it's not only what's for us, what's for our system. What do we need to stand in for our system?
Palome, I wanted to ask you about that. So you were talking about playfulness, right? But when do you stop that? Like it's not always that you have a mature team who knows when to stop the playfulness, when to be serious, right? Because that's how you know mature team. Mature team knows when to play, when to not play, when to work. So how do you overcome that, Palome? Because in day-to-day life, it's difficult to put that line, right? Like okay, now your play is over. Now you start getting serious. So how do you do that in such a way that nobody gets offended?
Understood, Arun, and just in the interest of time. So Arun, for me, playfulness comes from the heart. So, and playfulness doesn't mean that you are not serious about something. It's just a way of how you involve your team. So I also work with a lot of junior teams, okay, where people are new, millennials and all. And they take things seriously, but their way of taking things seriously is a bit different from the way we used to take in our days. So that's where I learned from them how to use playfulness. So this is like humor. How to use humor in a way, how to use, say, web series in a way to relate to situation. I use web series in a way to relate to situations which the team understands. So it's the team's language that I try to speak. And I can only do that when I will have my heart with that team. So that's why I connected both of them. Hope it helps.
Yeah, I understand. So you are in sync with the team. So what you are able to realize what is playfulness from their perspective. Okay, got it, Palome. Yeah, thanks.
But Arun, I think you brought up a beautiful question there. And what would it be like to take that to your team? You know, when is it time for us to be playful? But when do we need to stand in commitment? So how could you use something like the meta skill wheel to serve your team? And that's a real question, Arun.
Yeah, I'm looking at the wheel in deep right now, but I understand. So what you're saying is I need to put myself into all these positions. Like when I say playfulness, I need to feel what is playfulness. When you meant heart, I need to feel that heart. And when you say that commitment, I need to know first of all, before I tell my team what is commitment, I need to know myself what commitment means to me, so that I can project it outside. So I get that, Erin. So yeah, it's a tough thing. Putting ourselves in everybody's shoe, right? Putting ourselves in one person's shoe is difficult. Putting ourselves in this is like a bunch of people. So putting ourselves in their shoes is difficult. But yeah, I get your point. So yeah, I need to look at the situation from all points of view, so that I get an iota of understanding of what everybody else is going through. Yeah, I get that, Erin. Yeah, thank you.
Wonderful.
So, Erin, if I may ask,
please.
So while we understand these are all kind of a traits, when this concept has to be applied, and what is the output that we expect out of this approach? Erin?
So because I had a little bit of a funky internet connection. I'm going to repeat what I think I heard you said just to be certain I'm answering the correct question. Okay, Naga, you're asking what is the output of standing in one of these different, you called it traits. Let's stay with the word stance. How do we want to stand? Okay. The outcome of this is knowing, Kerri did a beautiful job there just a little bit ago. When do I need to stand in deep democracy with a team? So it's a combination of you listening for what the system is saying, what the system is bringing up, sensing, what's coming up there, and how do you want to respond? And by having a meta skill wheel like this, how does the team want to, how does the team want to be? How do you want to be with the team? And noticing what you go over and stand in inquiry or awareness and knowing what comes up for you there and be like, okay, I need to be more open about this. That's that listening there. Okay. So the outcome you want from this is to be able to stand where the team, where the system needs you, where to be in service of that. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So just to kind of understand. So as a system, let's say it is showing some of the behavior, and as a coach, where do I stand to support or enhance the outcome? Is my understanding correct?
Say that one more time. It's a little, I'm getting a little bit of a cut here.
So basically, Erin, what I'm saying is, let's say every system has their own of these skills, maybe representing by a system, and as a coach, recognizing that and being part of that section. Is it how you look at it? Is it situational?
It is situational. There are times that you're going to be in one stance, but the other times you're going to specifically take yourself out of that stance and go to something else. What would it be like to ask a team who is particularly, let's use Erin's example of a playful team. Okay. Team, I love the lightheartedness and the joy that we bring to this. Okay. But what would it be like to look at, our work now from the stance of commitment, to have a conversation around what that means, so that they literally take themselves from one stance to another stance. Okay. And they've got that there. And how will this help our systems as a whole? How will this help our systems as a whole if we are practicing standing in different stances, different views?
Okay. So yeah, is it something that you feel like we should take this to our teams and then show these are all the various traits that the system can demonstrate, and so
yes,
we all become self-aware? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, but I'm going to avoid the word should. I'm not going to say that you should take these to your teams. I just want this here as an option for you if you choose to, if you would like to use something like this. I will I don't like the word should. Well, you should do this.
I agree.
Not prescriptive.
But what you're saying is, as a coach, we need to be aware of these things, right?
Yes.
Okay.
As coaches, we do need to be aware. So if you go back to the logo of, this entire session, a love letter to India, all of those arms, that was, love there holding, but this is us as coaches holding that system there. Okay. And it's a wheel. All right, y'all, we have about 15 minutes left, and I'm wondering, we were going to do some work around takeaways, but if I could have 4 minutes, and we'll be very quick. What is the dream for using this work? How do you dream of using the work that you've seen here today? Let's bring that dream down.
Well, this is Adarsh. So what I could see about this metaskill wheel and something which could connect to me long back when I was a kid watching Cartoon Network was there was a cartoon which had certain characters, a bunch of them in a car, and whatever the situation was, one guy was always crying, whatever happened, another guy was laughing, and there were people serious and who could investigate. But together they all did form an amazing system to kind of work together, and the cartoon was pretty much lively, and all the kids liked watching it. So, but the traits what they had with them was a complete thing what you showed displayed in this metaskill wheel. So in the whole system or in a whole team, we have members who and all of us possess the skill, but at very different levels at various different times. But how do we use it to kind of, how I would use it is to kind of pick up a few chunks of it and maybe use it in the retro, or just kind of send a card out to them as an email or in the morning and just say, hey, today we could focus on this part of it, and we could all work maybe towards the respect part or to the commitment part, and then see how the team sinks in and work together on it.
Yeah, I'm hearing different ways that you might want to be creative with your teams. How else do we dream of using this work? The dream for our system.
Somewhere I feel it is self-awareness, Erin. As a coaches, I feel it's the self-awareness, saying that these are all the various skills that are there. And self-awareness of that would help in terms of to help our teams better, so that being conscious about, okay, this is the various quadrants that I'm in, or the situation is in, or the system is in, it helps us to kind of be conscious about and react appropriately, is what I think.
I'm hearing a deeper, a lot of this work is resonating. It's like here, it's got starting to bring things up.
Erin, I would love. Yeah, sorry.
We're going to hear from one more person, and then we'll go to takeaways, and we'll have you all out of here on time. So please, Pulu.
I would like to utilize this with the leaders. I think they are the most people who need our support more, because they are the least heard. They tell a lot of things, but they're least heard. So they're least heard. We hear them giving, telling their visions, but we don't connect to their visions at times. People do not connect to their visions until and unless it is explained and stuff. So I would like to take this models to the leaders to see how can I help them, or how can I be with them in their journey when they're sharing their visions using these tools. So like bringing out their meta skills. They are already leaders, they're good ones. But they also have their meta skills, which probably they are not utilizing. I have seen a lot of leaders not doing that. And hence I would love to see if I can use this.
I love hearing so much servant leadership and so much heart in all of what everyone is saying. So I noticed that Asit, and I'm hoping I'm saying that correctly, has raised a hand.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's perfect. And yeah, I would like to share with the dream here is what I see this meta skill is basically, it is perfectly aligning with the system that we are talking about. And one thing that I would like to take it is basically when you talk about the system, particularly working with the team, one of the biggest challenge comes out when you talk about engagement. The level of engagement, sometimes it is very deeply low, sometimes very high. Some people are very high in engagement. And that's create a huge amount of barrier as well, and also a kind of hurdles in the team cohesiveness, number one. And what I understand from my experience in this particular thing is it is due to this, the number one is clarifying the purpose. We're not clear why we are all together. Number two is we have not inspired the trust into the team, or maybe at the team level, individual level, to that level that we come forward and work and engaged in a particular team for the particular single unified purpose. But when I see at the metadata, meta skills, that will bring a huge amount of cohesiveness, or maybe kind of transparency and openness into the system. That will bring lots of transparency and openness into the system. And that will help me in inspiring the trust altogether. And that will be the backbone, or maybe one of the fundamental of engagement, bringing engagement level off. This is what I understand.
Hearing that dream of transparency, openness, connection. Yeah. And I love what you said, Palumi, about, leaders, they may talk a lot, but how many times they're actually heard. That was I thought that was a beautiful distinction there. Okay, everyone, I know that we're getting towards time, and I wanted to spend a couple minutes for what are you going to be taking away from our work here? Okay. If you could just popcorn up, drop it over in the chat. What is one thing that you will be taking away from our work here today?
Erin, we have two people. I think I have actually one person who has raised his hand.
Please.
Vaibhav, if you can go ahead. Yeah.
Thanks, Palomi. Erin, thank you so much for the wonderful insights. Erin, if I'm not taking two away from the agenda, I just have a small request. In ORSC, we have this concept of constellating the system, if I mean it correctly. If it is okay with you, can you spend 2 minutes talking about it, just to give an overview of what it actually means?
So it sounds like you're already quite familiar with system constellation.
No, I'm not. I've just heard about it. I've not been able to understand this and I'm curious about it. So consider me as total beginner.
Okay. Could we take that offline?
Sure.
And you and I can connect and we can go through that at a different time because that's more than a 2-minute topic.
Okay. Understood. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. And it looked like there was a second person who had their hand raised. Was that correct?
Yeah, Pooja Biani. Yeah.
I don't see Pooja anymore. Wait.
Okay.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Okay. Well, everyone over in the chat, if you don't mind, Arun, you're raising your hand.
Yeah. One small thing. So I was worried that I was feeling that that last year was a horrible stuff that people are worried about. But thanks to my team coach Kerri, that I really understand right now that no, I was not wrong. This is a global pandemic, and we are all suffering about that. And thanks to Kerri, I understand that, and I'm sure that we will try to make it work. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, it sounds like that's your takeaway, is that deeper sense of connection, not just to a system here, but almost globally for that here. Wow. All right, so drop in the chat what you're going to take away from the work here. Oh, that's lovely. Systems has soul. Systems have souls. I think I'm going to take that away. Systems have souls.
Good one.
I love that. I've never heard it phrased just like that, but it really, that resonates a lot with me. Thank you. Thank you, Adarsh. Wow. So only so we have meta skills. Okay. So I think I'm hoping you might also, you have probably heard a lot of really wonderful, powerful questions here today. I'm hoping that you take some of those away as well. Noticing different tools to help people learn to listen, to all come together in a way. I'm hoping, some alliance work up front, because I'll be honest, everyone, having a good foundational alliance has been integral to helping work with a lot of different teams and a lot of different systems and the like. But one thing I will be taking away as well, besides that systems have souls, is how many people wanted to come together for this work. And thank you all, because I know it's quite late there in India and that you stayed up for this. That means a lot to us. Okay, the DTA activity. Yep. Deep listening and great coaching questions. Yes. So everyone here, we do have Agile, for those of you who are coaches and want more practice on that, we do have Agile coaching circles, and we have these at different times around the world. We have times set up specifically for North America, Europe, and we have both coasts of Europe as well. And if you know anyone who speaks Spanish and wants to practice their Agile coaching in Spanish, we also have a Spanish one to boot. So these are free, these are virtual. And if this is a way that you are trying to improve your own coaching skills, please come join us at any one of those. And Kerri loaded it. Kerri's got them all. Kerri's like, I'll be blessed to have friends like Kerri and Yogita who will literally, make everything wonderful for you. So for that. Anything else as we're closing here, as we're about to do a checkout and take this home? Adarsh, the elephant and the cheetahs. I have not read that, Adarsh, but I'm going to take that. Yeah.
Put that on.
That sounds, yeah. Elephant and the cheetahs. Yeah, I've been reading the book, Reading the Room. So that's where I've been over there. So everyone, if you would, please, in the chat as our checkout, what is the one song that you want to sing to yourself as you go away from this event today? What is the song that you want to sing? Mhm. Oh, I'm going to play this too. I'm going to be. And then press enter. 1, 2, 3, enter. Deep G, I'm alive. I'm going to be singing a little Bee Gees there too. All right, Yogita, you're going to have to explain that one. And actually, I want you to sing it.
Oh, I think all of my Indian friends will probably get that one.
Sure.
Aati rahengi bahare. De jati rahengi bahare. Spring. Yeah, there you go.
I know
Thank
everyone's
you.
singing.